Welcome to Money Moves for CRNAs, the podcast created specifically for 1099 CRNAs who want clarity, confidence, and control over their money. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not personalized tax or financial advice. Here's your host, Randy Larkin with Atlanta Tax Planner.
Hi there. In podcast number 20, we talked about why tax season can feel so stressful for 1099 CRNAs, and why April 15th should not feel like a surprise. Today, I want to build on that idea by asking a simple question. Why did tax season feel so stressful? And the answer is usually not just because taxes are complicated. For many 1099 CRNAs, tax season felt stressful because it exposed gaps that were already there. So the better question is not, how do I avoid that feeling next year? The better question is, what is that stress trying to tell me? Because tax season stress is usually not the real problem. It's the symptom. The real issue may be that your tax setup is not giving you enough clarity during the year. And for a 1099 CRNA, clarity matters. You may have 1099 income, multiple contracts, travel expenses, multistate work, an LLC or S-corp, payroll, estimated tax payments, and retirement planning decisions. That's a lot to manage. And if those pieces are not organized during the year, they usually show up later as stress. For example, maybe your income increased halfway through the year, but your estimated tax payments never changed. Or maybe you took on a new contract in another state and assumed it would all get sorted out at tax time. Or maybe you had travel expenses, but you did not keep the records needed to support them. None of these things may feel urgent in the moment, but by tax season, they can become the exact issues that create stress. If you felt rushed gathering documents, your monthly system may not be strong enough. If you are unsure whether you paid enough in estimated taxes, you may be guessing instead of projecting. If you are sorting out deductions at the last minute, your documentation process may need work. If you had travel expenses and were not sure what was deductible, your tax home and travel records may need a closer look. And if you have an S-corp, payroll, or retirement plan, those pieces may not be fully coordinated. Now, that does not mean everything is broken. It does not mean you did anything wrong. But it may mean there are gaps in your tax setup that need attention. That is a point I want you to hear. Stress gives you information. It shows you where you are unclear. It shows you where you are guessing. It shows you where you may need a better system. That is why filing a tax return is not the same thing as being tax ready. A tax return looks backward. It tells you what happened. But the tax readiness is about knowing what is happening before the year is over. It is about having a process that helps you make better decisions during the year, and not just clean up the numbers after the year is finished. One of the easiest ways to spot a readiness gap is to pay attention to the phrases you hear yourself saying. I'm not sure. I need to check on that. I didn't realize that mattered. I probably need help with this. Those phrases are clues. They show you where your tax setup may need more attention. And that is why we created a free resource called the 1099 CRNA Tax Readiness Review. It is a self-assessment designed specifically for 1099 CRNAs who want more than just tax filing. It helps you look at the areas that commonly create tax surprises, including income, business structure, estimated taxes, deductions, travel, multistate issues, S-corp payroll, retirement planning, monthly systems, and year-end projections. The point is not to make you feel behind. The point is to help you see what needs attention before tax season turns into a problem. So if this past tax season felt stressful, do not ignore that. use it. And if you have not listened to podcast number 20 yet, go back and listen to that one too, because it explains why tax season should not be the starting point for tax planning. Then download the 1099 CRNA Tax Readiness Review using the link in the description. It is a simple first step toward a more proactive tax plan, and hopefully a much calmer tax season next year.
Thanks for listening to Money Moves for CRNAs. New episodes drop twice a month. See you soon. Music licensed from premiumbeat.com. Under license number 7394047.